Hello guys, my name is Nine and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at one of the newest variations of my Griffin base design. Some of you may remember this as one of the oldest bases on my channel, and honestly this is just everything that was good about it put into a whole new base design and all that stuff. Same core concept of just being an absolute tank for onlines, even offlines. This thing doesn't care. It's beautiful. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, join the Discord. The link is always in the description, or comment down below what you would like to see, what you want to know, or any questions you have. Alright guys, I love you, and let's get into a tour. Alright guys, starting at one of these 6 externals, there's 2 sets of 3. 3 of them are going to have 5k stone, 3k metal frags, and that's about it. They're obviously just your basic disconnectable. And then flying over the other variants, we're over here on this guy. And this guy will be a little, almost 4k stone, 2k metal frags. Be aware that the main TC cost in this base is extremely cheap, so it'll be a little more expensive than the externals. Disconnecting your disconnectables like this, you can then disconnect all of your externals, replace your main TC, reconnect them. You know the deal by now. Alright guys, entering into our gatehouses, we have some Patrico peaks into compound with space for a furnace funnel. As you can see on either side, there's tons of space for one. It's all pre-set up for you. We have these breach peaks on every side, facing towards our gatehouses and our compound bedrooms. I left the turret or the furnaces here so you'd have more room to look around to see what our actual angles are like. Coming over, we have a basic bedroom module, 2 beds, 2 lockers, and on the turret above, that about does it. So we have 6 entrances into base. The one that are half height offset higher are into the actual core, while the other is just a rotation module that will show off right now. All this is rotation to roof or whatever you want it to be. It's really just for roof though. It's the best part of it. And obviously respawns throughout here. Roof retake, which is great for early game, and just a roof jump up. But that's not what we're going to be looking at now. We gotta go back to our core, and we'll go down our rotation. Now on these breach peak modules, we also have turrets. Very good peaks into compound on every side. No matter what side of base you kind of come around and play from, there's tons of peaks. Jumping up and into our base, we have this next section, which is good for depoting. I'll put boxes above in this area here, but for now, just left it open. Locker for rekitting. These peaks are beautiful. They allow for nice little peaks in compound by the little offset of the ramp. Gives you a funny little angle that people probably won't expect. Going further into base, you can see from any side we have bunkers. It's 3-sided symmetry as it is a triangle core. A triangle with squares, obviously, but you'll see that in a minute. These bunkers have a battery, 2 large boxes. They're operated like this, breaking the ramp and replacing it like so. This is all you need to do. You can obviously fit more boxes in here in the weird terrain spots, but for now this works perfectly fine. Above them we also have our auto turrets that guard our drop downs into OpenCore. But let's go down into our starter unit, which is just a basic egg core that really just houses our main TC and its upkeep. Call it 10k metal frags, call it 6k stone, and 56 high qual. I really didn't use high qual in the main base. You see that as this core isn't even fully upgraded, as it really doesn't matter late game. You'd rather spend the high qual on AKs and armoring these bunkers, as that's where you're gonna get the most bang for your buck. Alright, continuing on any one of these jump ups, we get a jump up into OpenCore, where you see we're obviously met with a ton of turrets. The main strength of this base is the turret coverage, so being able to utilize this as best as possible is really, really smart. Also, we have boxes in these loot rooms down here. These inner, what I'd call 6 boxes, so 2, 2, 2, are the most protected in the base. They're 3 walls from any side. So usually what I like to do is keep all my main resources in this central area, and then I'll just start splitting all my excess loot into these outer loot rooms. And these things have 3 doors in between each, 3 garage doors, 6 boxes in each. It's a good, like, wide open core. It just forces offlines to really spend a stupid amount of rockets if you include the bunkers. It just becomes expensive, which is, well, the main strength of this base. Some retakes onto these points if they're ever compromised, and vice versa the other way. And like I said previously, this is iteration, like, I don't even know what of my main base design that I've been using forever. I figured it was finally time to update it on the channel, as I've been using tons of different variations, sizes, and all that stuff of this concept over and over and over again. And this one, I don't know, I just love it. It's just super unique. More respawns on this part, along with, this is considered our early game shooting floor, technically, how it has these peaks. And then jumping to our next, which is roof, we have this module that I found, I believe, on a Sea Dragon base. I'm in love with this. We used it on I think it was Village Warfare, and I don't know, I love this little module for respawns and retakes onto your shooting floor, or not your shooting floor, but your roof rather. Same difference nowadays though. Jumping up here, this is where our core peaks would be to our centralized drop core. I believe, I forget the exact terminology for this, but the way it works is this wood paneling here, when destroyed, opens this up like this, and now all the turrets, your roof becomes your most defendable point, and it's just beautiful. Collapsible core, that's what I'm thinking of. Apologies on that one. And to replace it, I'm just gonna do it at twig for now on these guys. You place 3 squares like that in your triangle, and then obviously upgrade these to like wood, as they don't need to be higher. I also have a module that goes on top of this in case you want to protect against MLRSs, to kind of seal this off and not make it a one wall from top, which is very suggested. Now continuing on with our actual roof design, you'll see that this is where our jump up was. We have great auto turret coverage, just very well done. It's very simplistic, but it works very well. We have some mountain roof type peaks. Using the Adobe skin, we get a nice little peak here that's not otherwise possible. Mountain roof type peaks, you know, the basics nowadays that everyone kind of does. Your wide gaps there, now the basic peaks. All considered. And yeah, that is about it, guys. Alrighty, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below. Otherwise, let's get on with the build. Alrighty guys, I know some people like to see the footprint beforehand, and especially with this being a larger one, it's really important. So the inner egg is our starter unit. The outer is obviously that shell type beat with the bunkers. These would be the bunker modules right here, these 2 triangles either side. These are honeycomb and rotation modules. OpenCore technical loot rooms, along with just honeycomb, 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 honeycomb. Basic wide gaps, breach peaks, the whole 9 yards, all that fun stuff, mountain roof type peaks. Our bedrooms, gatehouses, and our basic externals on either side. Alright, be aware guys, I use a little bit of build grade, symmetry, and all that stuff, especially with a base this size, so just be aware of that. Starting off with 1 single square. Our starter unit goes very simply. Double door, and RTC. Use the space whatever you like, but obviously with a group this big, you need to expand immediately. I use double doors as in large groups. Single doors are just too annoying. If you would like to use single doors in some places, they are applicable, but I just can't be bothered with large group play. At least large group to me. Alright. Removing this double door. Moving these double doors like this. Here's our starting unit. Adding our shelf in. And then I like to upgrade this tile like this as early as possible, along with upgrading the rest as shown. And this is technically my final upgrade for final upgrades for this room, and I'm doing that right away just to save time. This is what it really just ends up looking like. Now obviously we just place our boxes and we're good to go. So just so you guys kind of have a thing to note, the concepts in this base are what I try to put in my small to medium group bases. This is just it on a much larger scale. I've tested these bases more times than I can really count at this point. I've used them wipe after wipe after wipe, and especially this design is technically my most tested design to date. It has concepts that I've been using since realistically 2020, but they all still work very effectively. Just kind of the whole retake modules and all those kinds of things that I just really love to employ. So if you do have any questions or improvements, I really do want to know. Or if you just have an idea for like a base you want me to do, a footprint that you haven't really seen explored, I'd love to see it. I'd love to play with it. I'd love to like try some new stuff. Any new footprints are what I'm really into nowadays. Anything weird, I'd love to see. So, yeah. Obviously, spam garage doors throughout. Boxes, furnaces like this is my usual MO. And now, at this point, we are going to add our externals to this base. So here's the starter unit from the outside. I'm going to turn on symmetry. And the way this is going to work is each triangle gets a square off of it, and the squares get a triangle off of it. I'm going to upgrade this sheet metal so they don't look weird, and this is what we're left with. Now, to the right side or left side, it really doesn't matter, but we'll do right side in here. We'll place one more triangle like this. And a twig will now be multi-TCing. So, 3 triangles, 8 squares. Coming back to the base. With triangles. And breaking our connection, or rather our build out. Now you'll know you've done it right when you have this gap like this. It's a very obvious gap here. I'll usually upgrade 1 or 2 of these tiles just to make sure we're good. And then I'll complete the footprint like this. Next, we'll build the next section, which is 3 squares out. We will wait to break these guys. And build 1 more square, triangle, triangle. And now just for the sake of showing it off, this is how we're going to do this. With this guy raised. Obviously this isn't connected to this. We'll fix that in just 1 second. But first we're going to put our externals on. Because that triangle won't decay very fast, so it'll be okay. Sheet metal, stone, stone. Time for our basic external. Obviously, if you have a better variant that you'd like to use, feel free to use it. I know some people have bunkered versions and all that fun stuff. I'm just using the bog standard basic external for this, as I don't want to waste time making something complex for a base this large. Feel free to obviously do something else though. It is always recommended to beef your externals up to absolute hell. There's our connection back. And now, my stone, sheet metal, window, upgrading this guy, half wall, double door frame, connection. It looks super weird, but it'll make sense once the base is done. But that is all the reconnects and everything to make sure it's going to work flawlessly. Let's make the other 3 externals and then put the compound on. Same concept, 8 squares out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On the end of this square though, make a triangle. Now coming all the way back. We now place a square, triangle, triangle. You know that this one has worked by upgrading this square and coming over here and looking at this gap. Now on this guy, we're gonna place 3 squares out, break the 2, same kind of concept, raising this triangle, exact same external design, no differences here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. At least for externals. TC, garage door, single door. Now on this one, I actually do prefer to put a wall, and this will be bedrooms on the interior. So, walling this guy off, and adding in all the stuff for him. You can also stone, sheet metal, double door frame, window, wall, reconnect. And also just for you more advanced people, technically you can leave this as just twig squares and not do this weird reconnect overhead of you. But I find people on my team to always upgrade those squares for no reason. And that's not good. That's not good. They'll break the base and we'll have to be soft siding some foundations here. And that's no fun, obviously. So I just try to really make sure that doesn't happen to people, especially nowadays. It's happened too many times to me where I'd just like to prevent it for you guys. So now this section, we have this part for our compound. We'll put it straight off this guy, practically straight off this guy as well, and we'll just kind of feed in between. That looks perfect. Just like that. That looks pretty good, and pretty good. Now this one isn't perfect, let's be honest, but the compound will work pretty darn well. Put our half walls up, and then I'll add these double door frames to make sure I don't mess up later, and then add my metal barricades on top. I'll stand and put them like this. That's my methodology for it. And then coming down here, my windows, my embrasures, my doors, beefing these guys out and being in a good spot. Same thing on this guy. And then temporary squares. Obviously don't leave these. Boom. That is our basics of our compound. Now obviously you can build the main base up more before you do this, but I'm just showing this for the people that want to get the compound down super fast. So next thing we're going to build down to here, we're going to sheet metal this foundation, and make sheet metal bunkers. Sealing this guy in, opening it up with a triangle, coming into the interior, adding a double door frame or two, and getting our spots for our turrets down. And the reason, or batteries down for our turrets. The reason I like to do this second is now I can, no matter what point of the wipe I'm in, if I garage door this guy off once, I'm in a beautiful spot. Not only can I stash loot in these bunkers and annoy the hell out of raiders early game, but I can put a battery in here and just totally jack up the raid cost of my base when I put turrets down. And that's really the key thing that I'm doing here. But now it's time to actually build up the main base properly. So we're gonna be adding half walls here, here, and here, sealing this guy in on all sides. 2 full walls off this external on every kind of part of this. Coming to this, sheet metal, stone, stone. We can put a double door, or a window rather, walls like this. Make it the same height with that half wall. Now what we're gonna do is add our square triangle like this, half wall there, and then our ramp. Full walls here, double door frames, half wall, half wall, half wall, half wall. Squares here, making sure to leave this square open on the top for our open core loot rooms to give more boxes. Now we can seal this guy off. Coming into our open core, we add a double door frame off the square and half walls off the triangles. Sealing this off just like this. On these sections, place triangles, double door frames, and half walls on top, hard side facing like this. And then you get 2 more before coming in here and sealing these guys off. Windows here, triangles below, like this, half walls in the middle, ramps, coming into the interior here. This is where those box loot rooms go. If I could place this half wall, the game would love me. It doesn't love me today. There we go. And we can put our ramps in here, low walls, and half wall here, seal this guy off, jump up to the next section, half wall. We want to add this triangle flooring here to kind of seal it off. Then this is usually where I add a double door. Sometimes I won't add this little triangle here temporarily to make sure this would be a double door and work so I can seal off this roof piece and whole area. 2 double door frames here, our double door frames here in the middle, followed by these guys for our auto turret pods, and then our roofs like this. square roofs. Triangle can be used. I prefer a square. Now, for some reason, this isn't placing. It should never have that problem. I've never had that problem before. It's okay though. And on top of here, on top of these double doors, we can now add these windows. Proper embrasures. You can kind of see how this is starting to shape up. Obviously tons of box space in these guys, but we gotta keep expanding first. Coming into here, we wall everything off, including the OpenCore loot room. We're going to add a shelf in here before coming down in the interior and putting a double door frame here to block this conditional. Same with this guy, block that conditional opening. OpenCore loot room is done. Use a half wall here, triangle, same thing on this side, half wall, triangle, double door. And it's really self-explanatory once you really get to know it. You can put a wall here too, but it takes a little learning. As you can most likely see at this point, just a lot of the same things. There's a lot of blocks. So, yeah. All right, those are our OpenCore loot rooms now fully segmented off. At this point, you are clear to technically move into your OpenCore, but what I might suggest doing is adding an airlock here, either garage door or double door, and adding garage doors like this. At this point, we are going to be adding our boxes to our OpenCore, but I don't suggest doing so until you have some turrets down in the OpenCore. So I might suggest 3 to 9 turrets, depending on how big your group is. If you just have 3, putting them right here for an early game, these things watch literally every entrance into base. They're really disgusting. It's kind of hard to believe how good these guys are. Like, no matter what side you peek from, you're peeking a different turret. And with this being a jump up to this, they have to jump to peek it. It just isn't fun depending on the angles. It's very well done. And then obviously this entire first floor can just get double door frames and just spammed with garage doors. Like, just every slot gets a garage door for you, garage door for you. And as you can see, very expensive. And obviously this double door should be removed at some point, as you can't make this drop down. So apologies, I should have mentioned that a little earlier. And also, if you are putting turrets here, sheet metal these walls. And to also mention, place your turrets out here, either in this standpoint right here, if you only want to do 6 in the outer compound, or you can place them obviously right here. And then we'll continue on the interior. And obviously, as you guys can kind of see here, this thing is beefing up very quickly. So coming to this section here, we place a double door frame. We do this, and we just move this double door from there to here, and then replace it with a garage door. You can also add another garage door here, just forcing that door path to be even more expensive from this angle. Another double door, seal this guy in. This is gonna become our roof exit, so I'm gonna double door frame here, or double door here rather, and then move this guy. Oop, that's not needed. Again, moving the double door just further and further out to not, waste and just kind of reuse the same double door. Okay. Next part is the rotation modules. Very simple. Build up the walls. It's really just being utilized as honeycomb. And then come into the interior here and make them. You can also add beds and lockers on each level. This guy's got to be a double door frame. I'll show you what this looks like. Double door here. You can locker, bed, every floor. Especially if you're a deep team, this just gives everyone a respawn on every set of base, basically. Just no matter what, someone has a respawn on different set of base, and it's just powerful. Okay. Now that the entire main base is done, we're going to talk about one last thing before that. Honeycombing on these triangles can be done at any time off these OpenCore squares. It doesn't really matter if you just sheet metaled this like this instead. It's just as strong as honeycombing it. So if you are just crazy on metal frags, that's also an option. And obviously, sheet metal the entirety of this roof whenever you have the opportunity. But for now, we will finish by honeycombing off this section. This is the only quote-unquote excess honeycomb on base that is done. It also adds a lot of raid cost if they hit the wrong side, which is pretty funny. All right. Continuing on to make our shooting floor footprint off of these entrance double doors. Also, apologies. Off of these entrance double doors, you're going to place a square, triangle, upgrade the triangle, add a frame on top, and now continue to make the base. So this will get stone, sheet metal, stone. Also, it's not decaying. There's just not external TC on that side. So apologies if that threw you off just now. Add your proper embrasures, your roof triangles. These double door frames go too high as sheet metal. And then, apologies, make sure you place this triangle as well. Not just one of the sides. Make sure you do both. If you do forget to place this triangle is not replaceable like this unless you have one of the Adobe or weird skins. So the solution is place triangle, square, triangle, square, triangle, triangle to get that build back. That is the other solution. It works no matter what, so we're good. Okay. This is now our next breach peak module. Frames throughout, triangle here. Add your proper embrasures whenever you can. I like glass windows here for now. Half walls go here, along with half walls right here. Auto turrets will actually go in these as early as possible. These are really powerful auto turret spots. Along with putting single door windows in this, and this becomes a little wizard tower, as some of my friends like to call it. I mean, they're not wrong, it's pretty funny too, so I do like that. And then single door in this guy off. We get a bed, 3 lockers. You can also fit some small boxes and other boxes, but we're gonna do the lazy variant today. And just put 3 beds and a locker in, which is still pretty darn good for 1 bedroom, I'd argue. So, and the peaks then are pretty good onto what will be your shooting floor. Those are the wizard towers done, as they're called, building up the stability next to them on every side. We then just place a roof triangle or a roof square going out, and that's just a very, very basic peak to give some mobility and just some extra height and angles and to block off other sets of angles. Okay, next set here, square, triangle, square, square, triangle, square. We get to stone this, sheet metal this, and then stone these guys. Same breach peak module. We're rinsing and repeating here. Practically, it's the same module, just on a different side, and then mountain roof peaks off the corner. Boom. 3 high in this, just kind of like that. Interior wise, 2 high. Triangles here. 3 around module as well. The only difference about this guy is instead of using half walls there, we are going to be doing a roof pickup module and roof rotation module. Sheet metal this guy. Triangle, 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 roof triangle to the interior. So this is looking like right now. Come in here, double door top. Squares off these guys. Ooh. Coming to this outside here. This inner one should be sheet metal 3 high on either side. Squares then, or not squares, but stone then. And then surrounding this guy, half walls, windows, floor frame. If you want, it's not actually needed. If you want, just double door this off. You can technically put a bedroom in here if you know how. It's a little difficult though, so I won't be showing it today. I have shown it off in a few previous videos though. Triangle off of here. If you do have the Adobe skin or any of the sheet metal skins too, doing this here allows this to be a peak. You can't put this off of any section you want. It really doesn't matter. It's all up to you. This triangle, it's not really gonna matter. Then windows. That is that section completed. Now, there are a ton of options for your auto turrets on a roof, but we're going to start with the very basic ones and this roof module over here. Windows here, window here. These are going to be this paired with a glass window, as there's going to be bedrooms there. Don't want them open all the time. Oh yeah, sorry, if this is in place, it's because of that window. You gotta place it second. I apologize. That is order of operations. Sometimes forget the little things. I do apologize. This is then that peeked back into your middle. Windows. This is a bedroom mod. If I can place these frames, there we go. Like this. Glass windows. Double door. If you want garage door in here, you can. I'll just be leaving it out for now. Personal preference. And then we add locker, bed, bed, locker. And I have lockers that you can see through. So that's why this makes sense. So obviously we only have 3 auto turrets on the roof right now, but we want more. So there's a lot of spots for them. The first initial spot that I would suggest is going off of here. This is a very basic auto turret spot, like this. Another option if you have a ton of turrets is to wall and half walls above these guys. It's not as pretty of an option, but it'll work. Also off of these is a great spot actually, believe it or not. They watch a lot. They'll actually like this. In worst case, if you're looking for more options, the next spot is going to be a little, okay, it's gonna be a little funny, guys, but it's gonna work. Doing one of these becomes a really great option as well. It's funny, it's very funny, but it's gonna work. So all options. But for now, we're gonna show the windmill placements, and that will be about it. Off of this square right here, we're gonna build 3 high and place our windmills. These are our initial 3 windmills, or 3 of our initial windmills rather. If I can get the placement, it's always fun. That's 3 of the initial windmills. The other 3 initials are gonna go off of this guy. Same height. This gives you 6 windmills. If you need more, put them off of the gatehouses. So as you can see, pretty good. 6 is good. Still enough room to land whatever you want here. Now I did talk about a module to go on top of this to protect against MLRSs. It's a very, very simple module. Half wall, low wall, triangle, square, triangle, triangle. That's all you need. It still gives you peeks into core. Great for nading in here. If you have nades on a roof on a small box or something like here, very powerful. Same with a box up here, gives you perfect peeks into core. It's all you need, and it's gonna work realistically beautifully for the purpose of it. And also sheet metal this guy, rotate them in. Also these guys, sheet metal these guys, very good to have. So this entire center portion just becomes a tank. Okay. Last and not least, but not least rather, we are going to be going over final upgrades. Coming into your OpenCore, as you can tell, everything is stone at this point. Obviously I haven't placed the boxes, so I'm going to do that now. But I mean, this stuff was kind of self-explanatory, so we're good. Last thing to note is really just everything that is in this OpenCore gets sheet metal. If you see it, if you can see it, you sheet metal it. Another thing to note is that you can reach all the weird half walls from underneath. The way we've built this base, weirdly enough, is that all these half walls are reachable from these sections right here. And the reason that is because then we can shotgun trap every single side of this. Yeah, that's the reason. So it looks weird from a standpoint of like, why aren't we adding triangles right here? Well, the reason is for shotgun traps. The real point of this base is to be really just difficult for like a large group to take proper control of the space, just with the amount of traps and stuff that you set up for it. So by doing what I'm kind of doing here, you just raise the raid cost to just an extreme amount because they just lose rockets to stupid things. And that's kind of the point, which I think is, I mean, I think it's hilarious and I think it's beautiful. So obviously don't forget your shelving units in there. Every single one of these little pods like this gets an auto turret for you, auto turret for you, kind of dealio. And if I could place this guy, this one's really kind of hard to place, so I do apologize. That one, depending on the scenario, you might have to break the wood in the middle, but that's okay. Then we also have great spots for mixing tables. 6 is usually a good number. that I like to do for my personal wipes. I don't really find myself using more than 6 at any time unless I'm really crafting for a raid. And even with that, it's nice to have it. Down here, use furnaces for your jump up. We know you need to cook tons of charcoal. And then right here, if you still are needing more mixings, this is the spot for it. As you can kind of tell, everything's kind of been thought up for the space. There isn't really not a space for anything. And that's kind of what's beautiful about it. And like I said before, if you guys do have crazy amounts of HQM for whatever reason, upgrade these bunkers. And that's done like this. Like that. If you HQM every bunker on the space, it just becomes disgustingly expensive to raid. Raiders will just, they won't have fun. Let's put it that way. So, yeah. Alright guys, without further ado, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below. And yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.